What's up, everybody? I just got done building these modules for the Perpetual Grow, Modular Perpetual Grow, Modular RDWC system for Perpetual Grow. I just got done building these modules, and it occurred to me that all these videos are way too long to be putting all these together. So I'm gonna make a three-part series. This is part one, building the module itself. And then part two is going to be building the veg system. Part three is going to be building the flower area system in my house. So either way, let's get to it. In this video, I'm talking about the module, the materials I chose, why I chose them, how I did everything I did, and why I did everything I did. So let's get started on that. What's up, everybody? Today is the day. I don't have everything I need to get finished, but I do have the main thing I need to get started. Building my my new big build, which is an RDWC system. But what's going to be different about this system is it is going to be modular, and it's going to be built for a perpetual RDWC grow, where 4 plants are in the veg stage and 4 plants are in the flowering stage at all times. But it's not just built for that. What it's really built for is just to be interchangeable and move around and make different configurations of RDWC system as I feel necessary. So however I build it, it's modular, where I can build a 4-place, a 2-place, a 6-place. I'm going to make probably going to make about 12 of these modules. So I can make up all the way up to a 12 place grow if I really want to, but what I'm probably going to do is 4 and 4 perpetual grow, and those are the 2 systems I'm going to build right now. It's 2 systems designed for 4 and 4 perpetual grow. One is going to be the veg system, which will be a basically a 5x5 area with 4 modules for veg, and then I'll take those same modules, and the whole premise of this modular Perpetual grow system is to take those same modules and move them over to the flowering location, the flower room. Take the module, move it over, hook it up in the flower room RDWC system, and then continue in the same container for the rest of the grow. So start it in veg in one system, take the module out, go put it in the other system for flower, and then finish the grow out there when I start the next set of 4 containers for the veg area. But either way, here's what I came up with for my module. And this is the biggest part of this entire, system is the module, with everything else is based on it. So this is one of those, this is like a hazardous material transporting bin, vat, whatever you want to call it. But it's basically kind of the sturdiest containers you can get. This thing is a total 20 gallons. I think it basically could actually put in like 22 gallons if you really fill up the top. But obviously I'm only going to be filling up about there-ish, which would be like 8-9 gallons maybe max in my RDWC system. And these have these locking lids here. It's a metal, actually. Metal locking lids to lock the lids on. And take it out. I don't know if you can, how to get it, figure out how to use it. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the lid comes right off like that. Or the ring, the locking ring comes off like that. Here's the lid. It is opaque plastic. You know what? I haven't even checked this to see if it is actually see-through or not with a light. I'm pretty sure this thing is. Oh no, a little bit of light gets to that lid, so I'll probably paint it black and then white. I don't think, no, well, maybe a little bit. I might end up painting the outside of this white just to reflect the light out. But for the most part, there's very little light getting through there. But this is the lid here, super solid. You can see it's recessed. It's got a nice little lip there, so that's going to fit really well. But this is basically the basis of this entire build is these things. And if you're watching this video and you're looking for somewhere where you're going to find the cheapest way to build something this is your first time, you want to check it out, and this is not the video for you, because these are not at all the cheapest way to build something. These are the way to build something when you want to make it last for a long time and make it the best. And that's what I'm going for here. And these are exactly what I was looking for. I looked for a long time to find the right bin to build, to grow big plants. And this is it. So I'm basically, this is HDP, this is food safe plastic. So about these bins, like I said, they're gonna be modular, so I'm gonna be changing them. And I'm basically gonna build, I only ordered 4 so far, there's 3 more in this box apparently. I only ordered 4 so far. So they're all exactly like this. I'm gonna make them exactly the same. I'm gonna make 4 units the exact same, so that you can take it and spin it around, and no matter which one you've got, they're the exact same bucket, so that they're interchangeable. And in the case there's ever a leak or anything like that, you can just take the one that's leaking out, take the lid off and put it on a new one if you really have to, and move your plant over. But I'm going to make them the exact same. So 4 modules to start, just to build the system and build the 2 systems, and then I'll build another 4 after that to have the interchangeable. Once my first set of plants gets to the flowering stage, I'll take clones and I'll have 4 more of these built for the veg system again to start the perpetual cycle, which means about almost 3 months of veg time in these, and then almost 3 months of flower time. So hopefully they'll go back and forth like that, and they're big enough to house it. I'm sure these are big enough to make any size plant I want to grow in them, because like I said, there's going to be at least, I would say at least 10 gallons of water in here with the bulbs and everything else. But what I was saying was about the cheapness or expensive situation. These are expensive modules. These things are like 60 something bucks a piece for this thing, and the lid and the ring, obviously. But these things are 60 bucks a piece, which means they're not the cheapest option. But from what I can tell, they're the best option for me. They're the right size for me. I can fit 4 of these in a 4x4, and they're going to fit the way I imagine, as far as linking them between each other and things like that. But also, like I said, the lid is awesome, and the ring around the top is awesome. But also, the plastic is food safe. And what food safe means is basically that food safe means it's basically a measure of the plastic's porosity. So if it's not food safe, that means the plastic is more porous, so it's more likely to get some bacteria or something in there that's going to grow and foul up your next grow. So food safe means the pores are way smaller in the plastic, so things aren't going to get lodged in the pores and degrade. Also, the plastic's not going to degrade, obviously, but little bacteria isn't going to get stuck in the plastic and kind of degrade your grows over time. So food safe was a big consideration. Sturdiness was a big consideration. Size was a big consideration. Lid was a huge consideration, and closing function. And beyond those, basically I wanted it to be, and it turned out, as I went along with the way I was thinking about it, that round and the bottom of the lid, the way I'm going to do this, the bottom of the lid needed to have a small area, at least a big enough area, that'll be flat, and then flat on the inside as well, so I can put my bulkhead right there in the middle. And that's a good way where I can spin it. There's no angle that's going to be different on this. Like I said, they're going to be all interchangeable in the right size, and the right shape, and the right dimensions every way, where they're all interchangeable no matter what location in the actual entire RDWC system they are. I can interchange all these, and they're all the exact same. So modular. This is the module. This is the basis of the module. And now it's time for me to get started on building this thing and show you what I'm talking about. So I'll come back when I'm getting going here. Okay, I just came out here to the garage and I measured the middle of these buckets for what I'm about to do next, which is the controversial part of this build, or I'm guessing it'll be controversial at least, which is drilling the bulkheads through the bottom of the container rather than drilling through the sidewall like most people do with their RDWC systems. I think there's benefits and consequences of doing it this way. The benefits are The benefits are it's easy to make the system modular and all these identical. That'll be all in the center. It'll all be in the center. It'll all be even. Also, I'll be able to drain the tank, the containers completely, just out to the pipe from the bottom, instead of having to vacuum it out like people do with the side bulkheads, thing like that. And what else? Oh, also the bulkhead is on the bottom, so it's pulling straight down. So I think it's less likely to leak this way, because bulkheads are kind of designed to be pulling straight against the wall. Whereas you put a bulkhead in the side over here like this, and the transverse force is kind of like making, you know, little leaks, you know, pulling it one way or the other, up and down, and making leaks on the little side of the bulkhead. Whereas this way pulls it straight and doesn't cause any leaks. The downsides of the bulkhead on the bottom of the thing is, one, I think there's going to be a lot of weight pulling down the bottom of this bucket, on the bulkhead here. There's going to be pipes, unions, all connected underneath with water in them. So I'm not sure if this thing will be able to handle that much weight. That's the one thing I'm worried about here. As far as building system goes, is worrying about the weight of the bulkhead, along with all the piping and unions underneath pulling down the bucket. So that's my major concern with the bottom bulkhead deal here. The other downside of having the bulkheads on the bottom is it's going to take up about an extra 6 to 8 inches of vertical height. So I'm going to lose 6 to 8 inches in my flower room or tent or wherever I'm at, because I want to do it this way. But I'm okay with doing that. Should be fine. But either way, I marked off the middle of each one of these buckets, and I kind of drew a guide. All right, I drilled a little guide hole with a tiny little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead and drill the holes. So here's the first hole. Looks like it's in the middle. Alright, that's pretty straight in the middle. It might be a little off, but we'll see. Either way, I'm going to drill the rest of these 4. I'll come back when I'm done with that, and we'll get to the next part of this. Is that even in the video there? I can't even see if it was. Yeah, it looks like it's on the video. Okay, so I'm going to do the other 3. I'll come back when I'm done with those. Okay. All these bulkheads are drilled. I'm sorry, all the holes are drilled for the bulkheads. This one came out, the first one I did actually was slightly off, but the rest of them look pretty dead center to me. So before I come back, I'm going to do a bunch of different things to prepare these holes and these pieces of PVC and the bulkhead for putting them together. So first off, for the holes, I'm going to deburr it. There's a little kind of like little plastic, you know, pieces where it drilled, laying around, hanging in there, little jagged edges, whatever. So I'm going to deburr every one of these holes with a deburring tool. I did that in my last couple of videos and showed that. Then I'm going to sand this with 80 grit, a very coarse sandpaper here. And I'm also going to sand the inside of the bulkhead, 80 grit right here and right here. So that's what I'm going to do for this. Next part I'm going to do is putting the bulkhead in. And for this build, I've decided that I'm not going to use a gasket. So, the gasket is not going to happen on these bulkheads. And rather than having a bulkhead that's removable, which is a moot point, I'm not actually going to install this where it would be of any use to me or any way to actually remove it. So I'm not going to use the gasket. I'm going to sand the inside edge here. I'm going to sand this both coarse grade, like a 80 grit sandpaper. I'm going to sand here, 80 grit sandpaper. And so this is going to be coming up through the bottom. Through the bottom, and come up here like this. I plan on, one other thing I need to do these bulkheads, which I showed in my last video, is I need to file out that groove. There's a groove on these bulkheads that stops it about the thickness of glass, because these are meant for glass aquarium. This is like Lifeguard Aquatics 2-inch bulkheads, slip. But there's a little chunk they put in the last groove here, so that it doesn't go past like the thickness of glass, basically. But this is way thinner than glass, so I need to file this out. And that's something that's going to cause you problems. If you don't file out that little chunk when you're putting in your bulkheads, especially these kinds that have a little chunk in there, then you're going to stop, and it's not going to seal tight, and you're going to get leaks. So you have to file out that little chunk there and make sure you can tighten down your bulkhead all the way to the end. So right now you can't tighten it down. If I can tighten it at all. So you can't tighten down all the way. When you get to the inside there where that chunk is, it will stop. You'll have about an eighth of an inch. See that? So that is where it stops because of that chunk there. Once I grind that chunk out of there, I'll be able to do this all the way up to flat and flush. But that is a big consideration when you're putting these kind of bulkheads, is file out that little chunk that's right there out of the grooves. But like I said, I'm going to sand the inside ring here. I'm going to sand the outside ring here. And I'm planning on using a JV plastic weld. So on the inside, I'm going to put this up through there. On the inside, I have JV plastic weld and basically weld it to the bucket. As well as on the outside here, I'm going to put plastic weld in there and weld this onto the outside of the bucket as well. So, like I said, this isn't going to be something I take on and off of here. It's going to be going on this bucket, and it's going to be part of this bucket, one piece. The other way to do this would be really good, probably even better than the JV plastic weld. I don't know if it'd be better or not, but you can also weld with plastic. They have plastic welding guns, heat sticks, and they have a little plastic sticks. You can use basically like a metal welder, and you can use the plastic to weld two pieces of plastic together. But I'm not going to get that involved in it and go buy a plastic welding gun and learn how to do that. I'm just going to use the epoxy, 2-part epoxy, JV plastic weld, and weld this together like that. Basically just glue it together with epoxy. But I think with that plastic weld, that's going to mitigate pretty much any chance of, or it's going to eliminate any chance of the bulkhead leaking, because it's not going to be a rubber gasket there. It's not going to be worried about force of torsion. It's going to be, if it moves, it's going to move the whole bucket around with it. It's not going to just pull a little crack in between the two. It's going to be a solid piece with the plastic weld as part of it. So it's going to go like this. This will be sticking out through the bottom of the bucket here. And I'm going to these pieces. I already cut all the pieces. So these and these. This piece right here is going to go in here and here. And it's going to end up being flush. So imagine that's in there, and these two pieces are put together now. It's going to be like that. And these pieces are going to go like this in here and in here. And then the bulkhead, not the bulkhead, the unions are going to be on each side of this pipe here. So, in other words, everything here, before I come back, I'm going to go sand everything down. So I got to sand this and these with 80 grit. I'm going to sand everything that's PVC to PVC. I'm going to do 150 grit sandpaper. So all these, the inside of this, this, all the bulkheads and all the pieces, I have to go sand everything down now. So it's going to be a while. Basically, it's got a lot of, this is where a bunch of manual labor, elbow grease type crap comes in. So I'm going to go do that. It's going to take me about, I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm going to go watch UFC fights and sit there and sand this stuff while I'm watching TV. So I'll be back as soon as I get everything prepared and sanded and deburred and ready to go. And I'll show you the next step of this process. Okay, I am back and I've done all those things I said I was going to do. I deburred the hole. I sanded around it with 80 grit sandpaper, both sides. I sanded all these PVC fittings with 150 sandpaper, and I actually joined up all the PVC fittings so far. I joined up the PVC fitting for the bulkhead, so I don't have to deal with that later. The less things I put together after I have this installed, the better. So I put those together, all these over here, and also, like I said, I roughed up the inside of these with the 80 grit, and also I grinded out the little plastic nub that keeps the closing all the way. And I built the assembly, which is going to be underneath the buckets like this. It'll be underneath this way with a union here and a union there, so I can open or close it at both ends, connect it to whatever I need to. So these are all done, all the PVC put together. Now what I have to do is the part that I've never done before, which is gluing this bulkhead down the hole with epoxy, rather than just using a bulkhead with the rather than just using a bulkhead with the gasket it comes with. So I'm using a JB plastic weld, which comes in a 2-part little syringe, and you're supposed to squirt in equal parts of both sides here. There's clear going in. Where is the? All right, there's the the other side. All right, so I'm supposed to squirt in equal sides of both this stuff, or equal amounts, excuse me. So there's equal amounts squeezed in there. And now I gotta mix them up. Actually, I'll put in a little more, just so I don't run out. I don't wanna, it's like $4 for this epoxy tube, so I'll just go ahead and mix up about 3/4 of it. So I definitely have enough for this bulkhead. But there we go. So there's enough of that in there in equal amounts. So now it's time for me to try and see if I can mix this up and glue this thing down without making a mistake here. So here it is. You mix it up, my epoxy. I have not done this before. Like I said, I actually messed with a lot of epoxy before. I just haven't used a JB plastic weld epoxy, and I've never glued a bulkhead. Actually, on the first install, I've gone back and put glue and things around bulkheads after the fact with the gasket still in there. But this is taking the gasket out and just gluing the plastic to plastic, so it'll make hopefully a solid connection that I won't have to deal with later. The other thing is the bulkhead itself is, like I said, I scored it with a 80 grit sandpaper, which is really thick, coarse, or really coarse, not thick, but yeah, really coarse sandpaper, which basically scores the part there, the parts that are going to make contact between the bulkhead and the bucket. So now I got that mixed up. Let me get my thing here. So where am I going to hold what with what? Let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and take this, put that down there where it's going to be, and start applying this on there. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, this is pretty thick stuff, but not that thick, so I might be in the way of the camera, but I'm going to need to get this done, so excuse me if I'm in the way and you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm basically just covering this crap around the bulkhead, all the way around, pretty thick. I want it to smash out on the sides when I'm done here. There we go, pretty thick, pretty thick, pretty thick. And there we go, thick some more thickness. Now I'm spilling it through the hole. I am actually making a serious mess here, but we'll see. I'm using pretty much all stuff I got here, which is not ideal. I was wanting to actually have some left just in case I needed it, but so let me go ahead and get this coating all the way around so I don't mess up my one chance to get this on there. Hopefully I'm not going to foul up the threads of this crap. That is going to be a consideration here. So let me go ahead and get this in there. Oh my god, what a mess. Okay, looks like it's definitely got plenty of it in there. I've got it smashed out in every direction now. And now I need to clean this crap up. My god, what a mess I made. Okay. So there we go, there's that. I brought some napkins out here, but I don't think I brought enough, because that is pretty messy what I just did. Okay. Oh, it's epoxy. Basically it's just plastic. It's going to be plastic on plastic if it dries like that. But let me get it out of there anyway, because I don't like messing like that. There we go. So there's that. It's in there. I'm going to continue wiping it up here. I'm going to let that sit there like this for, it says it sets in 5 minutes and it cures in 1 hour. So what I need to do is definitely get this stuff cleaned off here and kind of position into place within 5 minutes. And then I can work on the other side before it completely cures. Make sure I can get the bulkhead on the other side and fit it on there. Okay, there's a messy inside of a bucket now. Still moving around because it's still obviously still not close to dry. But that is what's going on with the inside of this. And I pretty much have it the way I want it. In the spot that I want it, right in the center. See, it's still wobbling around because there's a little bit of extra play there. In the bulkhead, I drilled it in exactly fit with the hole. But it is close enough for government work. Alright, there's that pretty much cleaned up, pretty much hopefully a plastic, hopefully that is a solid plastic basically weld there without any holes through it so the water can't leak out, but I'm pretty sure that is set in there pretty solid without any holes. If there are leaks in this, that is going to be a huge
disappointment. But yeah, I think I put enough in there to wedge it in and seal it.
So I got 5 minutes to wait for this thing to set. I'm gonna flip it over and put the bulkhead nut on the bottom side with some more glue. But hopefully this side right here is the glue that matters. This is the glue that's gonna hold it on there and seal it from the inside. So, like I said, hopefully this will do the job and it'll seal it the way I need it to. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes when I'm flipping this over and doing the other side. Okay, I am back, and it's been over 5 minutes. It's been more like 10 or 15, and this thing is stuck in there hard. I just looked at the mixing stick and the stuff the stuff inside here that I mixed up is basically solid plasticky stuff. So they weren't kidding about that 5 minute setting stuff. It is hard in here now, rock hard. So I'm going to take the rest of it. Oh, so I tried to put the bulkhead on here. I tried to thread it down a little bit, and I was right. This stuff leaked down through here, so it kind of fouled up these threads, and I'm not gonna scratch these threads out. I don't think at this point that a bulkhead is actually necessary. And basically that the nut is actually necessary. The purpose of the nut is to squeeze down and squeeze the bulkhead to the plastic. But with the bulkhead glued on there, it kind of not necessary. So what I'm planning on doing is just mixing up the rest of that little container of mixing up the last bit of this stuff I have here to mix still, and just kind of I want to stay more. Wow, that's a lot. So mixing up the last of this, and then kind of spreading it around the bottom there in the groove between the bulkhead and the actual plastic there, and just filling it in, and that will be completion for me. And I have some pretty good confidence this stuff isn't going to leak once I get it all the way done here. But it definitely, like I said, it definitely cured really fast. Not cured, but it's set really fast. And you can definitely tell it's mixing the two epoxy components are getting cloudier, I guess, when they react together and mix. But here we go. All I got left to do, like I said, is just kind of, I'm going to go around the inside where the bulkhead meets the plastic there, and just pour it on there, and pour it in the little hole there, and let it just harden like a solid piece of container here between the two things here, instead of two things, I'm trying to meld them into one here, and I think it's actually pretty good chance of this working pretty well. So let me see how much I can stretch around the sides here. I can get all the way around, be nice. Okay. You can tell that I'm a little paranoid about bulkheads leaking, but I think once I'm done with this, I'm pretty sure I'll be secure in my bulkhead reliability. Yeah, so that's got a thick layer of this stuff all the way around. I don't see there being any open spots for water to pour through once it's dried. But that is a wrap on this first bulkhead. So I think that method is going to work fine for the rest of these. I'm going to let this one cure for about another 5 or 10 minutes. Actually, I don't even need to let it. I can let it sit here like this is fine. So I think that's sealed. Let me take this camera off the little thing here and get a better look at it. So here it is. It is a thick coat of epoxy. I ran all the way around between the bucket and the bulkhead where they kind of go through there. So if water gets through this, I'm not sure how. I'm not sure if this epoxy is going to crack, but I have pretty good confidence this epoxy is as strong as the bucket. So we will see in time. I got the leak test coming. I'll give it a couple of days of curing these and the PVC parts while I build the stands for these, and then I'll come back and do a leak check with all 4 of them connected, and we'll see then. But honestly, I'm not really worried about it. Got a little couple bubbles forming there, but I don't think that's a problem. So yeah, not worried about it. pretty optimistic about the seal I just made not leaking. It's obviously got air bubbles in there, but that means it's if it's trapping air, water's not going to get through there. Let's put it that way. So there we go, optimistic here, and I'll come back when I've got all 4 done, and I'll show it a little more when it's a little more cured here. All right, there we go. I just painted the lids black while I'm waiting for the bulkheads to cure. And I'll come back and paint these white as soon as they're dry here in about, I don't know, 10 minutes or something. Let me finish these 2 bulkheads here. Okay, the bulkheads are all done. Epoxied in the lids. I put the second coat of paint on, which is the white coat, which is meant to reflect the light away from the containers. So it's flat white. It's a little blotchy looking, but that's plenty good. Anyway, so here's the bulkheads I finished up on with the epoxy in them in. And all of them are completely sealed up here with the epoxy. And if these things leak, I don't know where they're going to leak from, because they all look the same here. I've got them all basically sealed between the plastic and the thread with epoxy. And this epoxy is going to, when it cures, it's basically turns into plastic, like a kind of a hard plastic epoxy, obviously. But yeah, so all the bulkheads are officially, oops, there's a little smidge. I can probably, no, there's a little hole there in that pocket of air, probably bubble popped or something, but I think it's gonna be fine there. And the rest of these are all the way sealed, obviously. There's another little pocket of air right there. Bubble, well, it's just a bubble, never mind, a hole. So yeah, these things are completely sealed. Like I said, I didn't put the nuts on the bottom because they're not needed at this point. These things are on there kind of pretty solid here. So when these move, the bucket moves instead of them moving and leaving a crack in the side or something. They're basically part of the bucket now. These are one fixed unit rather than something screwed into something else going through the wall of it. So, like I said, I have high confidence that these things are not going to leak, at least on the bulkhead. If they do, it's going to be depressing. I'll have to put some more epoxy on there to seal it up wherever it leaks, but I don't think that'll happen. So, I still need to cut the... So what I have left to do now, first I'm going to let these cure for a day. I'm going to let them cure for a day. It says fully cured in an hour. I'm not going to test that. Epoxy usually takes like days and days to like fully cure. So I'm going to let these cure for 1 day before I connect these suckers. The basically the manifolds, or so these are going to go in here. Bloop, and that'll be the entire module right there. Once these things cure, I'll throw those on there. But I don't feel like putting any torsion or any forces on these bulkheads right now when they're still kind of tacking. So once they're, I would say, at least mostly fully cured by tomorrow, I'm gonna come out here and PVC cement those on here. And then I'll let them cure for I'll let the PVC cure for another, we'll say day. And the next day, I'm going to go ahead and do a leak check with these. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and build the stands for these. I'll be showing that next, which is going to be out of 3/4 inch EMT tubing. And connectors called Maker Pipe I found on the internet, which are going to be my go-to for things like this, do-it-yourself type stuff from now on. And along with building those stands and attaching this and leak testing, I also need to cut the holes. So I'm going to put net pots right in the middle of these. But I'm going to drill holes for the net pots in all these. And I'm also going to drill a hole over on the side for a 1/4 inch bulkhead so I can run the waterfall through the lid, actually, which is a funky way to do it, but that way it actually makes them completely modular, where I can just spin the lid around and put it where it needs to be on the bucket, lined up with whatever configuration I have these in the system, if I have to change them out, whatever. So I'm putting the bulkhead for the waterfall through the lid, which is, like I said, not It's not the what's the way to say it? It's not something that I've seen done, but I don't plan on taking the lids off anytime during the grow, so it shouldn't be a factor. As well as to the bulkhead, there's going to be a union, so it'll be, you know, still be able to take off the lid if I really have to, but I don't see that happening or needing to be done. So, like I said, cure, put those on, leak test, cut lids, or sorry, cut net potholes and bulkheads for the waterfall water going in, and build the stands for these to sit on top of, and that'll be pretty dang close to the end. Once I have all those things done, then I'll just build the system specific parts, so connecting these through a manifold or whatever to a reservoir and chiller and things like that. But these are the modules, and these are the basis for however I grow, however many units I use, how many, you know, if it's up off the ground, higher, lower, whatever. These are the modules, and these are the basis for the entire system, no matter what system I build. And these are interchangeable, so that's the whole premise behind this. But I'll come back when I got everything done here that I just said I was gonna do. Okay, I'm back, and it's actually been a while in my time. These have been sitting out here for at least a couple weeks since I got these all basically built to this point, and I've been waiting on my current harvest, and it's coming out of there tonight, so it's time for me to get these things done. And the first thing I'm going to do for the rest of this process is build a stand for these. Build a stand. So the stand needs to be high enough so I can get this pipe out the tent door. The tent door is 14 inches up, and the distance from this to the bucket is 7 inches. So basically I have to build a stand that's about 20 to 21 inches tall, and I am going to do that with 3/4 inch EMT pipe. I've looked at basically, actually I already found this back when I was doing my outdoor grow for the awning, maker pipe that is. I was looking around for something basically that's strong and quick and easy. And I don't like using wood because wood is bulky. And for this right here, if I built a stand out of wood, like 2x4s or something, they'd be sitting here, and it would be hard for me to access the things I need to grab on here, like the valves and whatever. Well, this piping here is 3/4 inch tall, so it's going to sit on here out of the way. I'll be able to reach underneath and do what I need to do, and it's not bulky at all. So rather than weld my own stand, which I could do that, but that's just a huge pain in the ass, and it's permanent once you get done. Instead of doing that, I decided to just use this EMT stuff and maker pipe, which is what I'm using for a lot of things on this build. But here's the only pieces I think I'm going to be using for this, unless I add some other things to it. Whoa! This is a 3-way connector assembly here, and it basically a pipe goes through here, and then one down that way and one down that way. And that's, I'm going to use 4 of these to build each stand. You'll see what I'm talking about once I get going. And basically, to use this maker pipe stuff, all you really need is this, to build this stand, all I'm really going to use is the EMT, 3/4 inch EMT, the maker pipe fittings, and then these tools. This is a maker pipe, basically a little Allen wrench tool here for tightening in these, I guess I got in my pocket, tightening in the little bolt and nuts the way they go. But either way, I'll get into that once I'm building it and showing what the heck's going on here. But first I have to cut the EMT pipes to the right size. Like I said, I'm basically just build a frame where the rails are going to sit here, where the pipes are going to sit, the buckets are going to sit on rails here. It's basically just going to be a rectangular frame with 4 legs, 1 on each corner. And basically, like I said, I'm going to use these to make the legs and connect everything easy. You can use one of these to cut the pipe. So basically all you need for tools would be this pipe cutter and that Allen wrench, and then everything else is basically just using the modular pieces and connect them with the connectors. But I'm going to use my chop saw because I don't want to use this little thing here. It looks like a pain. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and measure this and cut the right size pieces, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start putting the legs together for this thing. Okay, so hopefully this gives a better idea. Let me turn the Jesus. So hopefully this gives a better idea of what I had to turn the fan on because the chop saw set off the smoke alarm. But either way, so hopefully this gives you a better idea of what I'm talking about. This is how the stand is going to be on the bottom of the pan, or the bottom of the buckets right here. So you go around the edges and down here to this end, and I'm going to put legs in each of these three-way connectors here. So I put this loosely on there. I put the one bolt through here on each spot. Just basically, I had to cut the pipes to the size, you know, the two long rails and the two end pieces to size. And then, like I said, I just basically lined everything up to make it fit right for the buckets. And now I just need to cut the right size, legs. So I'll cut the legs and I'm going to put them on there, and then I'll flip this thing over and see if it'll hold water on top of the stand. But either way, let me go ahead and finish putting this thing together, and I'll talk about it here in a second once I get the legs put on and flip it over and check it out. Okay, that is basically done. I just got done screwing in the last little bolts in there, you know, this proprietary screws here, whatever it is for Maker Pipe. But these things are pretty solid. I was worried about this EMT not being strong enough to hold water on top of it, but this stuff is strong. It's sturdy and firm right now. So like I said, I got the one pipe. The end rails are going through. Obviously, there's end rails here coming out, and then there's the legs. So basically, put those all on there. Also, the Maker Pipe company, they sell these feet. These are like rubber feet, and they sell rubber end caps too. So let me go. So you just put these rubber feet. Obviously, just slip on there. And then same thing with these rubber end caps, which I'm going to stick just on the ends here, which I'm probably going to have to file, not this end because this end was, I didn't cut this end, but I'm going to have to file out the other end and put these end caps in, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I'm going to have to file that out to put the end caps on those ends, but let's see what it looks like. So for this end, slap these end caps in here. Oh, there. Okay, one-handed, no problem. Yeah. So that looks pretty professional. You know, for something that took about 20 minutes to build, this thing is incredibly clean looking. They also have, I actually also bought a bunch of, or got a bunch of these sleeves, these shrink wrap sleeves, so I can color these pipes any color I want. For the stand here, I'm not going to color this thing. I'm not going to put a sleeve on this. I'm just basically, I don't know how long I'm going to use this stand, if it's the right size or anything else. But once I go inside and build my my flowering room, I'm going to put some sleeves on them just to make it look nice. So yeah, that is, oh, you know, put the other foot on there. That is basically a finished product here of this stand. And you can see that I'll have access from the sides. I'll be able to reach in here easily because it's barely taking up any space. And you can also see how tall these things are going to be off the ground once I put them in the tent. But yeah, I'm liking the way it says. I'm going to flip this thing over and come back and take a look at it when I get it done flipping it over. But that is exactly how that's supposed to look. It comes up to 37 inches, which is tall, but this is for the veg tent. And it's going to go from veg until, basically I'm going to put it over in the flowering area. So hopefully these plants won't be more than 3 feet tall before I transfer them to the flowering room. And with the amount of training I'm going to do on them, I don't think that's a possibility. So either way, this is what this looks like. I'm going to flip this over and I'll check it out what it looks like from the other side. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out for sure for 20 minutes of work. Either way, let me flip it over. I'll come back in a second. All right, there's what that looks like. I basically just flipped over the stand, flipped over the buckets and put them on top there. I may be putting something in here, something like in here to wedge it in to make sure that these buckets don't slide around once they're on top. But I'm thinking once they're full of water. Actually, what I might do is just wrap some like that
tote, some of those little plastic rubber bendy things I use to hang plants. I forget what they're called. I might just wrap those around the pipes here in each corner, just so this thing doesn't slide around, and same thing on the other side. But anyway, that's what it looks like, the finished product of this stand. And the modules, I have not completed them yet, but that was the whole point, was so I could work on these instead of having them upside down. Now I can go ahead and put in the airlines and stuff. But this is how it's going to look in the tent. There's going to be 2 of these. One, it's going to be this V shape like this. 2 going this way, and then 2 going that way. And they're connected with a 90-degree elbow here in the middle for the veg tent. Either way, but this video is about the modules themselves. So I need to get done building the modules. But you can see down here, like I was saying about this 3/4 inch EMT, is that this didn't get in the way at all. This isn't like 2x4s where it's just a huge amount of crap in the way when you want to grab something. Under here I can get to this valve. I can touch anything I want underneath here. I can disconnect things. I can do whatever I need to do. Wood would have made it just incredibly bulky and mold, and just so many bad things about wood. If you can use this 3/4 inch EMT for, well, I'm going to use 3/4 inch EMT for everything in my grow room. But either way, so that's what that looks like. Takes about 20 minutes to make the stand, and let me get on with making these modules. Okay, here is all 4 of the modules that I built so far, and I lined them up and hooked them up together. I closed this valve on this end. Obviously there's 2 stands here for each 2 modules, but you can make a stand, you can make as many modules as you want like this. I could have done 50 in a row if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. So I hooked up these 2, hooked up all 4 of them, obviously. All these are open. The one on the end is closed. Open, open, open. And this one on this end is closed. I'm going to go ahead and do a leak check now, as well as see how these do on top of this stand when they're full of water. So I'll come back in a second. All right, now I'm doing a leak check. Like I said, I just hooked up all 4 of these, and I'm just going to run water in here until they're basically all at least halfway full. And you can see the water's going down this one, and it's going down the pipes, filling up the pipes. Still got a long ways until it gets it all. Look at that! This whirlpool is keeping it from going down very fast. And now it's starting to go down, so it should start to fill up these pipes better. There they come. Oh, here it's coming up now. Either way, I'm going to fill up all these. There's one filling up. This garage is on a slant, so they're going to come up one at a time. That one came up. This one's almost there. This one's starting to fill up. Yeah, the garage is definitely slanted, which is good because then I'll be able to drain it out easier. But everything is filling up here. How's that one look? Is that one getting full? Yeah. Wow, it's amazing how short it's coming out this side. Like it's not coming out this fast, you know? But there it goes, bubbling up this side. Now this side is coming out. And soon enough we'll be on this end one. But yeah. So, like I said, I'm just going to fill all these up. I wouldn't say all the way. I would say I'm going to fill them up maybe 2/3 of the way, because they'll never go above that anyway, because it has to be below the net pots. But fill them up 2/3 of the way, and then I'll be coming back and checking for leaks, which I don't see any yet, but there's no like real weight or pressure on here. Also, we're going to check the weight of these buckets on the stand and see how that works out. But so far, so good. Look at that whirlpool. That's neat.
I know, that was cool.
Either way. So here's 1, 2. All right, the water's finally coming up in the top bin up here. So I'm going to come back when they're all full and we'll check for leaks. Okay, now these things are full, and I'm guessing there's, I don't know, I'm guessing there's more than 10 gallons in each of these. Probably more like 12, because I overfilled them just to make sure they're not going to leak. You got little pieces of plastic from, I guess, cutting the buckets and stuff still in this thing. But either way, so that is the leak check, and so far no leaks. That one's really full actually. That's probably more like, I don't know, 14-ish gallons in this sucker. And yep, no leaks. It looks like there's leaks on these, but that's just that JB plastic weld. It looks wet, but it's not. Zero leaks on anything. And this stand is holding the weight good, and everything feels sturdy now that there's water in there. Everything is in its place and feels pretty sturdy. I can jiggle it around, but I don't know if I'm going to need anything else to hold these in place. I think I'll be happy just like this. But either way, now if that's done, I'm going to leave these out here like this tonight. I'll come out and drain them tomorrow morning. And then I'll need to start working on the lids. and I'll come back when I'm doing that. Okay, now that the leak check was good, I drained them out early this morning. Now that the leak check was good and the stands are built, it is time to work on these lids. So what I'm going to do is put a net pot hole right in the middle of each lid. Net pot's going to go in the middle. Then I'm going to have a drill a return hole somewhere in this area, kind of on the edge of the thing. And I'm going to put a bulkhead through the top of the lid and have a valve on here where I can connect and disconnect, turn on and off the return for each bucket. So right now, that's what I'm going to do is drill all the net pot holes, maybe even grab some of the net pots I'm cleaning from the old harvest that came out last night and fit those in here and see how they fit. But yeah, so net pot holes, and then figure out exactly where I'm going to do the return ball valve union holes somewhere around here. Like I said, I'm going to put them. I'm going to put basically the hole for the bulkhead, and then out of the bulkhead is going to be a 90-degree PVC piece into this union, going out one side or the other. And the beauty of that is I don't have to tighten down the bulkhead here on top, and I can leave it where I can just kind of spin this around in any direction I want to and hook it up however I want. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on that, and we'll get done with this in a second. Okay, net pot holes are drilled. These are 8-inch holes for 8-inch net pots. And I'm almost done with this sucker. But now comes the one question of how it's going to fit. Now I'm about to drill the holes for the bulkheads, for the returns. Like I said, I'm doing the returns through the top of the lid, just because it's going to make a lot of things simpler. Because these lids aren't coming off for the entire grow. So like I said, I'm going to drill the returns through the top of the lid. The question is, where exactly will I put them? Because I don't know. I could basically put them something like this. So basically a bulkhead right around here, or even farther back, maybe over towards the edge, and then it would stay out of the way more. This is where I'm coming up with a lot of. I'm just not exactly sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm thinking anywhere between there and there will work. Kind of a couple inch range, but I'm thinking along one of these little marks on the lids would be a good place to do it, just so I can make it consistent through all of these bins. And like I said, once I have these connected, it should be fine because I don't have to tighten up the bulkhead when I put it through. I can leave the bulkhead loose where I can spin this thing and point it whatever direction I want. But I do need to make sure that it's going to work for both systems, or any system I move it to, which I think it should be fine though. So, like I said, and the other consideration, basically I'm going to have air lines. I'm going to drill 2 air lines in each of these on the side, and the side lining up with a pipe for the air lines. So I want this to be, I'm not sure. This is not really have anything to do with the airlines, but I can't put it, I don't want it right there in the middle like that. Let's put it that way. I want it to be somewhere off to the side, kind of displaced from where the airlines are. The airlines are going to be dropping down from the ceiling right there. I want the return pipe to be somewhere else. So it'll probably be like this. Like I said, basically, maybe just an inch in front of that dot on each of these, and that way I could turn it this way or this way. But what I see myself doing is drilling it there and having them oriented like this once they're actually in the system, and having it basically something like that, and then going one to here and a T coming up in between them and splitting off to the returns. So I'll just go ahead and start drilling holes and worry about it later. I think it's going to be fine. And I'll go ahead and start and see what it looks like. I'll probably think about it a couple more seconds before I do it, but I'll come back when I got them drilled. Okay, I'm back and I'm done with the next step of this process. Here's the bulkhead holes I drilled for the returns. So where the water's gonna be splashing down, I'm actually going through the lid, which is a little weird. Either way, it's for a 1/2-inch bulkhead, which they recommend a 1 1/4 inch hole saw. I don't know, I did the bigger size, probably like 1 1/2 inch, I'm not sure. But I wanted it to give a little wiggle there with my little thing I'm set up here. So here's what I built. These little, the ball valve union into the bulkhead here. So just basically hooked up those 3 pieces, and now I got this where I can spin it. I don't tie these up all the way, and I left a little bit of wiggle room, so when this will wiggle back and forth if I really ground them out, so I can basically hook it into a system without, you know, having everything be too rigid. But so yeah, that's what it's going to look like here as far as the return manifold goes. Is it's going to be coming up and bloop, for the veg system at least, that's how it's going to be. So it's going to come up, split off, and go into the 2 buckets, and that's the waterfall just blasting down in there. And obviously you can isolate a bucket, turn off the system. Now there's no water going in here. Shut off the valve, drain this thing out, and do whatever you got to do with this bucket, replace it, whatever. So that's basically what I did here with the bulkheads. I need to go, I guess I don't even really need a screw, but I'll go put them on their buckets instead, just to worry about losing them or something. So, but the other thing I've been thinking about doing, which I haven't really decided exactly how I'm going to do it, is cutting a hole here, basically an access hole. Because once the net pot's in here and the lids are clamped on with those metal clamps over there, I'm not taking this lid off for the entire grow. So that's like 6 months of growing without removing the lid and be able to screw with the roots. So I probably am going to put a little access hole here, basically just big enough to stick my arm in, and try not to ruin the structural integrity of the lid here where the net pot's going to be sitting. But yeah, thinking about doing a hole here on each bucket, basically directly across from the return valve here, or return bulkhead here, so that it still is modular. So I can always turn it this way, flip that around, and it'll still be, you know, whatever it is, it's going to be exactly, you can flip-flop it however you want, and it's going to be the exact same. Every lid's going to be the exact same, as long as I put everything kind of across from each other. And that's how that's going to be. But I'll come back once I figure out and get this done, obviously, exactly how I'm going to do this, exactly how I'm going to do the viewing hole over here. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, because I'm going to cut the hole out. And obviously I'm going to use the piece that I cut the hole out of, but I'm going to need to put something along the edges of it so it doesn't fall in there when it's laying on top here. So I'm going to need to figure out exactly what I'm going to glue to the top there of it to make it, you know, sit on top flush. But I'll figure that out, and I'll come back the next segment of this video when I've got that done. Okay, I'm back and I'm almost done. I got all my valves installed, holes drilled. I just put in the I guess viewing or access hatch, if you want to call it. This is not the best way, I'm sure, to do this. I kind of just did this because I had this stuff on hand here, and I wanted to get it done tonight because I'm in a kind of a rush to get this done by the end of this week. But anyway, so here's what I got. I basically drilled my holes there for my access hole, and then I took the little piece of it, put some nuts across the metal bar, some of these metal things I had, and I put a little piece of poly film there on top just to make sure I block out the extra light there. But either way, so that's basically access to the, that one doesn't look very good. That's basically access to the container. Once the net pot's in here, I'm not gonna be able to just reach in the top here. The only way I'll be able to get in, I'll have the rings on here holding these things shut for 6 months probably. And if something goes wrong, or just to take a look, I'll be able to come take this off. And then I made as big of a hole as I could, which isn't gonna like basically bump into the net pot there. But I needed to make sure the hole was big enough where I could put my arm down in there and reach around the roots, reach to the side over here and mess with the, I may need to mess with the airlines, who knows what, but that's basically made it big enough where I could reach down the whole pot there and get all the way around, and then cover back up and hopefully keep the light out and the water in. So that's where I'm at there. Now I got 2 more things left to do, and I'll start doing those. One, I'm going to make a little, kind of a little cover for that hole, so that the roots aren't just like dropping straight down the hole. And the other thing is just installing my, drilling a couple holes and putting in a couple of fittings for the airlines going inside of each bucket, and that'll be it. So let me get those things done. All right, here's what I came up with for covering the bulkhead, I guess, outlet to each reservoir so the roots don't just suck straight down the bulkhead. This is a plate from Walmart for like whatever. It's a little plastic plate from Walmart, which I'm sure it's food safe. But here's what I made out of it. I made a little, like I said, basically a little bulkhead cover. And it's 4 legs, and it cracked when I did this first one, but I'll try and be more careful with the next few. I don't think it's a problem though. So 4 legs here with a couple of, maybe those are 1.25 inch screws, and then a couple of like basically guides that go down the pipe so it doesn't move around in the middle with a 3.5 inch screws. Either way, so this is all stainless because it really, I guess you only want to, you don't want to put zinc or anything else in water all the time. Stainless still works in water applications without rusting or leaching. So it fits right down the hole like that, and it's got about a it's about a 3/4 inch clearance all the way around. So it should be plenty of space. It's actually more space in the actual bulkhead, so that's should be plenty good. This way the roots aren't just like dangling straight down in the hole there. Also, and especially when I do a water change and there's no water in here holding the roots up, bubbling in, they just fall straight down. They're gonna be sitting on top of this instead of just going down that hole and kind of getting stuck there. So, and the other thing that's gonna help with is it'll basically spread out my air stones. I'm planning on doing 4 air stones. So I'll just do 1 on each quadrant, boink, 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 and boink. And hopefully that'll keep the air nice and dispersed in here as well. Also, I probably need to put in screw a couple more holes in the edges here just to make sure there's no bubbles accumulating underneath this cover. But yeah, so that's the little cover for the bulkhead holes. I think that's gonna work fine. I don't know if this is unnecessary or not, but I decided to, if I'm not gonna look in here for 6 months, I wanna make sure the roots aren't just like getting clogged in there. So that's what I came up with. Either way, let me do the other 3, and then I'll do my airline holes, and I'll be done with the module. Okay, I just got done putting in the airline connectors. So I use these little 3-way, I guess whatever you want to call these little airline. These are 3/8 inch airline connectors, and they have like this. You see a little bump here. So the airlines go on the skinny part. The bump here is about 1/4 inch. So I drilled 1/4 inch holes through here, and then 2 1/4 inch holes. So there'll be 2 airlines coming to every bin. Bloop bloop, and there'll be 4 air stones in each bin. So each airline is going to split off into 2 inside the bin. Run those around. They're probably 1 in each quadrant basically. I use the 4-inch air stones. Like I said, I used these. I scored them. So what I used, I 1/4 inch hole for the side here. These fit in the 1/4 inch hole well. Then I used that plastic weld from before. Same stuff I used to glue the bulkheads in. I just used it to glue these. There's the trash left here. I used to glue these airline fittings on, so I don't want these moving. This is the one thing where I might actually use the access hatch, is when I change from the veg system over to the flower system. I'm going to disconnect everything, and disconnecting these airlines, disconnecting is not a problem. Bloop, you pull them this way, but when I reconnect them, I might want to put my hand inside here and hold against them so they don't go flying in when I reconnect the airlines. So I'm not sure exactly how strong these are going to be with the JB plastic weld. I'm thinking they're going to be super strong. I probably wouldn't need to put my hand in there, but when it comes to like things coming off that it's going to be a huge pain, I'd rather just hold my hand inside and hold it on there while I put the other one there. Either way, so like I said, I used 1/4 inch holes. These 3/8 inch airline tubing connectors stuck through there, 3-way connectors. I scored the inside of the 1/4 inch hole, and I used a file to roughen up the connectors here where it's touching the side. So hopefully these things are good now. I'm not gonna do anything with them right now. I'm gonna wait till tomorrow. I'll let them set for a day, And I'm going to come back and hook up some air lines to some air stones in here. Make sure everything looks right. And that will be about it. But I'll come back. You'll see it'll be instantly here, but I'll be back tomorrow to finish this up, the modules. Okay, well, these things dried a lot faster than I thought they would, as far as the air that JB plastic weld. So I went ahead and finished up here, which really was only just connecting these hoses, which I don't need to do it yet because I still have to build the veg system manifold, but basically just connected four hoses in here to show how it's going to be. So I connected these hoses here, hooked them to their 4-inch air stones in here, and that's kind of the configuration I want to do with the air stones. Hopefully they'll stay in this kind of quadrant configuration, and I'll be able to put enough bubbles through these two intakes there to make it really bubbly in here. Man, I just got done sterilizing everything with peroxide, but it was only 3% house peroxide. What is it doing in my hands? Either way, so yeah, the house hydrogen peroxide was drying me out. Maybe I'm getting old or something. Either way, so that's what it looks like inside here now. Once it gets going, I obviously turn these bins around and put the air inlets on the inside, which is where they're going to be when the grill goes down. So this is basically exactly how it's going to be. Air hoses are going to hang down and go in their respective bins here. And then, like I said, that's how it looks on the inside now. This is basically a complete module now. And all I have left to do is build the systems I'm going to put these in. So these will be ready to go right now. I mean, I could build a 2-piece. That's the whole premise of this modular concept, is I could build, this right here would be a 2-plant grow. I could do this, just put a valve on that end, close it, put a valve on that end, run it into a bin, run that bin up into the returns here, and boom, that's the whole system right there. Or, like I'm gonna do here in a day or two, I'm gonna finish building the veg system, which is gonna be all 4 of these. I'm gonna put them in a V shape, like a 90-degree angle shape, so they'll fit in the 5x9 kind of diagonal in each of their sides. There'll be a diagonal across to take up the most room and give me the most room to walk around in. So either way, point is, you can take these modules and build whatever configuration of RDWC system you want with them. And that was the whole premise of this modular system. But I will be back. These are done, and I will be back. Actually, I don't know if I'll be posting my video for the week of the Spider Farmer grow. I just started seeds and water, so that's why I'm rushing here on building this thing and finishing it up. These things are probably, I may come back and redo these later, but the beauty is these are up on top, so I can do this without getting inside the, what did I knock in there? Plastic, little piece of plastic. So the beauty of these is they're on top, so I can replace these and make them look prettier without actually having to get in there and do anything else. So other than that, the modulars are done. And like I said, the seeds I just dropped in water 2 days ago, 25th, whatever. So I dropped the seeds in water 25th. I got them paper towels right now. They just got, they basically cracked their roots out for all of them. I got to wait, and I'm about to be putting them in a rapid rooter here in probably tonight. I would think the roots are going to be long enough tonight. I'll put them in a rapid rooter, and the point is I'm going to try and put those things in rapid rooter as soon as possible. So I'm rushing through this, got this done. I'm going to get the veg system manifolds built for this, hopefully in the next day or two, and have it all done by Friday. But this is modular RDWC for Perpetual Grow Part 1. I've decided this video is going to be way too long if I make it all together. So this is just the module, this video. Part 1, if you want to see parts 2 and 3, if you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Hit notifications if you really don't want to miss it. But that will be out in this week. And then the flower system will be out later on when I'm forced to do that by the plants as well. But either way, if you watch this far, I appreciate it. I will, like I said, I got 2 more videos coming by the end of this week. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.